Hey, what's up, everybody? Rev Sauce 9. So I'm going to just give my thoughts real quick on Jimmy Jacobs resigning from AEW. Look, guys, AEW has been downtrending for a while. I am not surprised they released him. He was the head of writing and the creative team, and he's got to go. He said he was burnt out. He said he wasn't fully into it. He said he had no hard feelings by leaving AEW. I think it was just time for a shakeup. I think, AEW's realizing that the fans are hating on their creative. People are stopped going to their shows. And I think AEW needs to do something to rejuvenate the product. They just brought back all these wrestling talents. They just re-signed Daniel Garcia. They got a lot of people sitting in limbo. Before somebody tells me AEW has a bloated roster, so does WWE. Again, and it doesn't all fall on Tony Khan. Yes, he should take the blame on what's going on. Yes, I agree. But at the end of the day, it does also fall on Jimmy Jacobs. And it looks like Jimmy Jacobs, if he was burnt out and all of it, he was in autopilot mode. And he did this with WWE. He did this with Impact TNA. He's done this with other wrestling companies where his booking opportunities have not been good. He has missed his shots on things. He has not been good as a writer. And he was also with Ring of Honor for a while there until I guess Tony Khan bought it and they brought him in on the AEW creative side. And everybody loves him, but honestly, his creative has not been good. His writing has not been good. If it was good, AEW wouldn't be floundering half of the time in waves, to be honest with you. So, Jimmy Jacobs being released, I'm not surprised. He was released out of WWE a few years ago. He was let go by Impact TNA a few years ago to be brought into the failing Ring of Honor. Then he was brought over to AEW as head in creative and writing with QT Marshall and Peppermint and all this. You hired Peppermint to do a job. I think she should be your second in command. Or when Danielson's done getting his neck surgery and recovering and all that, bring him in as your second in command to do those things. I think Tony Khan's been trying to delegate, but I think Jimmy Jacobs kind of checked out. And you can kind of see the product kind of downtrending. And you could tell he's been in autopilot mode. He had to go. He said there was no hard feelings or anything like that. He just said he was burnt out on wrestling in general. And at the end of the day, you got to bring people that want to be there and be happy to be there. You know what I mean? It shows in the product that he was burnt out. It just shows. The first 3 years of the product was fantastically done. Everything, booking, everything was done properly. And Tony Khan was Mr. Pay-Per-View for a while there. But lately, it's not been Mr. Pay-Per-View. And I think they need to find the magic once again that made them great. What made them great was they did somewhat storytelling. Now, they're kind of doing just boxing matches kind of without no build. They're just going, at this point, at this time, we're just doing this to do this. And I think a lot of people wanted to have a story to it. I don't mind the UFC kind of press conference fight type deals. I don't mind that kind of stuff. I don't mind the make a match on the fly boxing match type deal. I don't mind that. As long as the wrestling is good. I don't care either way, right? But a lot of you care for stories. A lot of you want things to have a beginning, middle, and end. And again, when we compare these two products, WWE and AEW, they both have bloated rosters. Stories on both companies have been not really that great. WWE goes in waves. They re-push things towards you. So again, I don't understand why my constituents, why other channels are saying AEW just sucks. They can't do anything right. Go watch a Solo Sikoa fucking promo. Please go watch a Bloodline 2.0 thing. Please come back and tell me that's great. Tell me the Cody Rhodes the last couple of months has been great, because it hasn't been great. It's been fucking awful in the toilet bowl. He has been ice cold. So WWE has done some things as AEW that have been blunders. And then finally AJ Styles is finally being utilized, finally. And they do this hokey pokey storyline where he's kayfabing an injury and they're selling it. I don't find that at all. You brought the guy back just to do stupid stuff. But I'm getting off topic. AEW is pretty much ECW light, technically. It's technically trying to be ECW 2.0. And the problem is Tony Khan is booking like Paul Heyman would book back in the day, which a lot of times ECW would do things for shock factor and do things out of the ordinary. They would set up so many tables and have New Jack go through them. Again, it worked then, but it's not working now. And the reason why people are turning off is because they're doing too many extreme things. They're showing blood way too much. They're going extra. What made AEW great was the fact that they told stories, and they told stories within matches, like Dustin and Cody, like Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. You got to go back to those magic times and kind of rebuild on those, because there were some things that were great. MJF and Adam Cole. Unfortunately, Adam Cole got hurt, which doesn't help. Again, I come back to this. AEW the last 2 years has been plagued with the injury bug. Their wrestlers have not been healthy. Keith Lee has not been healthy. Miro has refused creative. Ray Phoenix has been hurt more than being there. That's why they tacked on time. And WWE did that with Sheamus. So what's the damn difference? Stop this comparison between the companies. I despise when people tell me, oh, AEW's got to blow the roster. But WWE does too. They just signed the big 3 women free agents. And I'm going to be fascinated how they're going to bring these main roster women talents up. They're going to need some mid-card titles. That's why I've said that they're working on it. That's why Triple H, it's in the works. That's why you have a lot of wrestling dirt sheet places saying that they're making an Intercontinental and a U.S. belt. They're going to kind of have to. Speed is not it for me, Chief. And again, I feel the same way about AEW when it comes to all the luchas being there. They need to have like an X Division type deal. You know, you're building up Hologram for what? Like, what are you doing with him? And a lot of you, it annoyed me. A lot of you don't watch the product, obviously. A lot of you like, oh my God, Hologram is great. Again, as I said in my review of WrestleDream, Hologram's been around for 4 months now in AEW. He debuted at the esports arena on Collision and has been winning match after match. If you guys haven't watched him on the indie scene or in Mexico, man, you're in for a treat. He's good shit. They just honestly have booked him as a powerhouse next to Beast Mortos. And what are they going to do with them? That falls on creative at that point. Again, Jimmy Jacobs being released or resigning, I'm not surprised. He's done this before with TNA Impact. He did this with GCW. He's done this with WWE. He's done this with every company. And then he claims that he's burnt out, and then he'll go sign with another freaking company for creative reasons. AEW just needs to be consistent. They need to sit back and book the right people to be part of their creative. Honestly, you have Jerry Lynn there. You have Dean Malenko. You have all these beautiful minds sitting in your back doing backstage stuff. Christopher Daniels. You have Scorpio Sky that's floundering. You could have him part of your creative, for shit's sakes. You could sit and have Jay Lethal. You have plenty of fucking people, Jeff Jarrett, that could sit there and book for you and come up with creative ideas on a whiteboard, kind of like what Bruce Pritchard does with Triple H and the people that work on creative stuff, you know, with Jeremy Borash and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You could have your team of people to do it, but they choose not to. And this is where the problem with AEW is, between injuries and bad creative. They've been going in waves for the past 2 years. They need to recapture what happened years ago. And again, not all the decisions with AEW has been bad. WrestleDream was pretty damn decent, but at the end of the day, they got to be more consistent. They can have these kind of boxing UFC matches and somewhat booking and story if it's done right. They've done it before. Again, I'm not going to say AEW is trash. And again, and I talked about views, and I have talked about people in the crowd. I've talked about it forever and a day. I've said this to you guys. It doesn't matter. Obviously, Warner Discovery's happy with the receiving, and everything could be done in camera angles and directions. That's why they have a production team that does what they do. That's why they make an arena look full when it's not full. You know what I mean? And they're limiting tickets. That's another problem AEW's coming in. I really reports they're limiting tickets on purpose because they don't need to have many people for a camera shot to make you believe there's a full audience. And again, I've been watching their shows. It looks like they have a full crowd. But then you have those people that are posting that 2 tarps are up and they're not all things were sold out and blur this and blur that. AEW is not trying to sell out. They're holding back tickets on purpose. They've been only trying to give you the illusion because it comes down to subscription buys when they do simulcasting with the Max app in January. It's going to come down to subscription buys, pay-per-view buys. They're still doing the pay-per-view model, even on Max. They're kind of taking the page of the UFC. Again, they just need to bring in the right people to do creative. If they can get their creative right, this is where I say a Shane McMahon should be hired, having his mind on the staff, maybe give him EVP powers, do something, and have him drive your creative a little bit, I think would be best for business. His dad taught him everything he needed to know, and he's not implicated in any of the shit. He's got a clean slate. Bring him on in, give him some type of power, and let him book and let him do some things. I think you can create great magic, and you can recapture that AEW magic if you do it just right. Anyway, my name is RevSauce9, just giving you my opinion on how I feel about the Jimmy Jacobs resignation or whatever. And at the end of the day, he needed to go. Creative has been terrible. It falls on him. He's the messenger that, the old adage is the messenger that got shot. That's Jimmy Jacobs right now. My name is RevSauce9. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Have a great day. Great night. Wherever you're at in time zone. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to rate, like, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.